Hi there, my name is Malcolm Wilkinson, and welcome to Millennial Meals, a place where we show you how to make some delicious meals and treats right in your own home. So in the spirit of keeping things simple, today we're going to be making some ham and beans. Let's get cooking.
So for equipment, you're going to want a crock pot, a large bowl, a sifting bowl, a knife, a cutting board, measuring spoons, more particularly a teaspoon and a tablespoon, a weight scale, a large skewer fork, and a ladle.
For starters, one of the first things you want to do is you want to get your beans ready. So for this recipe, I'm going to put in 1 pound of beans, which is about 16 ounces. So we're just going to measure out our beans. Alright, looks like we're just a little hair over, but that doesn't matter, as long as I got the beans that I need. So what you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to put that inside a bowl. Now think of this stage as our sorting stage, because even though these beans have been cleaned and sorted, there may be a chance that there's a rock inside, and trust me, you don't want to find a rock when you're eating your ham and beans. So I'm going to show you that sorting method and then what we do after that. So this stage, what we're doing is we're wanting to sort our beans, because the reason being, like I said earlier, even though it's been cleaned and sorted, we still want to check to see how our beans look. And the reason being is we're looking for ones that don't look so good, but the big one that we want to look for is a rock, because we do not want to bite into a rock at this stage. Well, definitely when we have the whole meal finished. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so even though it looks like a bean, so even though this looks like a bean, that's really a rock. So we definitely do not want to have this inside our ham and beans. I'm going to keep looking, and after when I think I have exhausted this little bean pile, I am going to go and then basically clean the beans. Okay, I believe I got all the rocks out. Cool. Next what I do is I throw my beans inside my sifter bowl. Then what I want to do is I want to start washing my beans. This is just so we can get some maybe dirt off of them. Like I said, this is kind of like I said earlier, where even though the beans have been cleaned and sorted, we still just want to do our due diligence and just give it another go, because it definitely doesn't hurt to re-clean our beans. Now that the beans are clean, I'm going to throw them back into the white bowl I had earlier. And now I'm going to fill this white bowl with water. I'm going to fill it up to the point where it's about 3 inches above the beans. So with the water, we want to fill our bowl up to about 3 inches above the beans. So right there, it looks only to be about 1 inch, so I need a little bit more water. All right, looks like that's about 3 inches above the beans. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now put some salt in this bowl. Now that we have our beans sorted, washed, and basically bathing in this water, the next thing we wanna do is we wanna add about 3 tablespoons of salt. The reason why we're doing this is because it helps keep the skin on these little pinto beans, and also it helps reduce the amount of gas you may get when eating some beans. So I'm going to add the salt now. Since we've added salt to our beans, now we're going to let it sit overnight until tomorrow, where then we can begin the next process of making our ham and beans. With that said, I am not going to stay up for that, so I'm going to be going to bed. But for you guys, that should be only about 2 seconds. But otherwise, good night, y'all. Now that my beans are finished soaking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sifting bowl to basically just rinse them off. Then I'm going to throw them inside the crock pot. Alright, so my beans have been rinsed, and now I'm going to pour them into my crock pot. So if you guys remember on a previous episode, we made some basically spiral cut ham in the oven. Well, this is the bone, the juice, and the ham that was left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and pour it inside my bowl. So I'm going to add 1 large onion to my crock pot. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dice it up, and then I'm just going to pretty much just throw it inside the pot. So I'm going to use about 6 cloves of garlic, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically peel off the skin and cut them kind of like how I did with the onions, because that's going to be all going together in here.
So for ingredients, you're going to want 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of rosemary, and 1 bay leaf. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pour in your onions and your garlic, and then after that you're going to put in 6 cups of water.
Now that the hardest part is out of the way, all my ingredients are inside the crock pot and we're ready to cook. So now, all I gotta do is put the lid on top, set it to low, and let it cook for 7 to 8 hours. So, I'll see you guys in 7 to 8 hours.
So the reason why you didn't see me using like the kosher salt or my smoked salt is because the ham in the end tasted just fine. So the ham that I got already has a smoky flavor, but in this case, you can add some liquid smoke or some smoked salt, but this is a case-by-case basis, so when it comes to the salt, just add as much as you want to make it to the flavor you want it to be.
Alright, so my pot roast, or what I should say, my ham and beans are done cooking. So I'm going to take off my lid. So it's been over 7 hours, easy. So at this stage what you want to do is you want to check to make sure it all looks good. If you want, you can take a spoon, you can kind of like taste it and see how you like. But one thing I would say is make sure you remove the bone, because that's not going to really help us in what we're going to be doing. It's not going to add to the dish anymore. We pretty much used all that we can from the bone. So while you're pouring some of your ham and beans, make sure you look for the bay leaf, one of those ingredients that we added earlier, because you want to remove that because that's not really edible, and plus it's not going to be fun to bite into. And also, what I should say too is that when it comes to how thick you cut your meat, you can cut it like thicker or smaller, but if you make it too small, what will happen is it'll almost like disintegrate inside your crock pot. So find a nice balance on what you like inside your ham and beans, but make sure like you get all the bones out. So like right now I got these 2 bones out. I'm still want to sift through just to make sure. Also, while you're sifting through, make sure you get the bay leaf out, because the bay leaf is not really fun to chew, and plus it's not really edible. It just adds overall flavor to our ham and beans. Also, oh, there we go. There is the bay leaf, right? There's the bay leaf right there. So that's not really edible, it's not fun to chew. So I'm gonna remove that from my ham and beans. With that said, this is how you make ham and beans in the crock pot. Y'all stay safe, have a good one.